Like I was mentioning, you will get copies of the slides. I will send you the recording. I've also got a home open house checklist that I'll provide you as well. The main thing here, we were kind of talking about it briefly before, but this is a system. It is a blueprint. I'm sure that you've done some of this, maybe not all of this, but following the system and really paying attention to details and trusting that it's going to work is truly, in my opinion, the takeaway for all this stuff. Again, not rocket science here. I think you guys know why you're here. Ultimate Open House Blueprint. So I'm going to show you a step-by-step system to hosting profitable open houses that generate leads and boost your sales. Again, people that are here know me. Maybe Facebook folks that are jumping on don't. My name is Mike Del Preto. I've been a mortgage advisor since 2005. Last couple of years, I've been teaching real estate agent classes. My guiding principle has always been to treat others like I'd like to be treated. That started off with super deep diving on the educational side of things with clients. With that guiding principle in mind, it's in my opinion very important not just to be what most lenders are, which is a solicitor or a vendor in some of your opinions, but truly a partner with you guys. The purpose of this class is the main reason is to one, thank the people that I'm already working with, but also for those that don't work with me, and just give you a glimpse into the education I like to provide. It's my opinion that it's not just me providing a world-class referable experience. My job is as a true lender partner, again, versus vendor, is to help you guys grow your business. And with education and sharpening your tools and your craft on your side of things, we can kind of collectively grow together. All high tide raises all ships is essentially the theory there. So let's jump into it. Our agenda today, overcoming open house issues. We're going to talk about preparing and promoting your open house, which obviously getting people to the property is very, very important. We'll talk about what happens on the big day. And then the most important part is capturing and converting those leads into clients. And I think that's where a lot of people miss the boat when it comes to doing what's best for their business as opposed to just showing a home. That's only one piece of it. The home, the showing part of it is kind of a starting point, but what's the main goal? So obviously, like I just mentioned, it is to sell that house, but it's also to generate buyer and seller leads. And then also, if you can get 3 to 5 people who visit your open house who want to know the value of their home, they already own a place and they're looking for a competitive market analysis. So how many times you guys see one listing go on the market and then 3 more around it shortly thereafter? We want those kind of opportunities, right? Neighbors get curious. Oh, I didn't know so and so could sell for this much. Okay, sounds good. A lot of times it's just a unknown piece, and once they see a little bit of a light at the end of the tunnel for their own situation, they can go quickly. So does everybody here do open houses? Everybody here? You guys, yeah.
Yep.
The question always is, do they work? The results can definitely vary, but I think collectively, again, if you follow a systematic approach and you go with the right objective, more so than just selling the house, but what can you get out of it personally for your business? It will definitely work, but the results can vary. Let's take a quick look here at a couple of examples of agents sharing their results from open houses. Now, I know you guys might be thinking these are some extremes. I want to just show you what I put together here, but this person said, don't host open houses. They said it was a waste of time. They said, for my last open house, I met a pre-qualified buyer whom I just put under contract on a $300,000 house. They said I was the first agent who explained to them the benefit of having a buyer's agent rather than just calling signs. From the same open house, I met a cash buyer with verified proof of funds who wasn't working with an agent and has a $1.4 million budget, which is also in an area with an average sales price of $160,000. Again, this is a social media post. This client said, "You're the first agent who hasn't judged us based on our culture and how we dress. You've shown us respect and treat us like normal human beings. We now have a signed buyer's agency agreement, and they are happily working with me." The point of this post isn't to be boastful. The point is to show that 1, open houses do work if you ask the right questions, and 2, treat everyone with respect and don't prejudge them. You never know what might come of it. I don't know this agent personally. I just like the number 2, treat everyone with respect. I treat my clients like I like to be treated. I think I know most of you fairly well, and I think we all do that. But again, just to show a bit of an extreme, but just to show you what going to an open house and what kind of doors that can open. Here's a couple of agents that responded from a survey. So do they work? Open houses don't always work for me, but occasionally they do. I did an open house recently where no one even walked through the door. The next weekend, only 2 couples stopped. The first couple bought the house, and I got both sides for a total of $1.3 million. Again, first one didn't work out so well, trusted the process, did it again, and they stumbled upon $1.3 million in sales. My first open house and my first listing ever turned into 14 transactions in my first year. I don't know Alexis, but that seems pretty amazing, pretty ridiculous, but it can happen, right? So that being said, there are success stories. We got to trust the process. The more you do this, like anything, the better that you'll get at it. So how do you know if you should host an open house? I know with some of you more Chicago city agents with condos, it's a little bit different spin, but I think it's still worth kind of talking about this thing from whether it's a condo or a home. If your home is unique, meaning it doesn't look like every other house on the block, that's always a good reason. If you're located in a busy, populated area that's in high demand, another good reason there. If you want to attract sellers. So sellers are probably one of the most common visitors to local open houses. They want to check out the competition. And if you want to look, if you're looking to boost your local brand in the community, again, seeing your name around, seeing your signs around, it's always a good thing. And sorry about that. Mouse is a little sensitive here. While most people don't find the home that they can purchase from the actual open house, it can be a great way for you to grow your business by getting buyers. And we saw in some of those testimonials. First and foremost, safety is a big thing with open houses, especially when you're showing a single family home. So some things to note just to get these out of the way from more compliance and putting your safety first perspective. So always try to have at least one other person working with you at the open house. I know that can be difficult to get two agents in the same spot. Notify someone in your office or a friend or a relative that you'll be calling in every hour on the hour. And if you don't call, they should be calling you. Just again, kind of those wellness checks. Have all open house visitors sign in with their full name, address, phone number, and email. I'll provide you some more direction on that in a minute here. And then when showing the house, always walk behind the prospect. I thought this one was interesting. Always walk behind the prospect, direct them, don't lead them. Say, for example, the kitchen is on your left and gesture for them to go ahead of you. That way you're always kind of keeping one eye on them. And don't assume that everyone has left at the end of the open house. Check all rooms in the backyard before locking the doors. Be prepared to defend yourself if necessary. A little scary, but hey, it's a crazy world out there. You got to be careful. So as you probably know, you have three options for hosting open houses. The first one, the broker open. Everybody knows what that is, right? We've all been to one before. You invite other agents, brokers preview the home before the public open house. And then you've got the second option here is the neighborhood sneak peek. Have you guys ever done one of those before? Just invite the neighbors. Yep. Betsy's giving me a thumbs up. Hey, Betsy. This is an exclusive first look for neighbors looking to upgrade, right size, pick their neighbors, or just be downright nosy. And then last but not least, the one that we're all most familiar with, the public open, which is the big event, an open house to welcome anyone interested in checking out the property. So now let's look at some common open house issues. Whenever agents consider hosting an open house, they often mention some of the issues with hosting open houses. Let's talk about those. The number one that I always hear the most is, I don't have any listings. So should that stop you from hosting an open house? No, absolutely not. In fact, it's almost better to show somebody else's home because of the different angles you can kind of spin on it than to host your own. It seems a little more selfless, if you will. So could you offer to open, to host an open house for somebody else? Of course. Here's a good little script you could roll with. Again, nothing super complicated here. It's just more or less giving some framework. But I just saw that you have a listing on 123 Main Street. I wanted to ask if you would be open to the opportunity to host an open house there on, blah, blah, blah. So again, put yourself out there. A lot of the busier, bigger agents are more than happy to allow you to show their properties and if you're with the same brokerage. Another common issue that agents have with open houses is people that don't sign in. That's the one that Derek mentioned before everybody else jumped on. Here's three options. Some brokerages already have this kind of as part of their tech suite, but using a digital sign-in solution, it will make it easy for people to sign in and capture and follow up with these people. Again, follow-up being the most important thing here for those that were a little bit late. We'll hit on that at the very end. But if you're doing all the things we're talking about here and you're not following up, you might as well do nothing, in my opinion. So who here has heard of either Curb Hero, Open Home Pro, or Spacio? Anybody use those before? No? By the way, I think there's 6 of you. I can see most of you, I think. Feel free to use the chat though, too, just because it's easier for me to kind of follow along and interact. In terms of, one second here, computer's having problems again. Where is the chat?
Hey, Mike.
Yep.
It's Butterfield. I was wondering recently, has anyone I was thinking about using a tablet and trying to do like, because App Properties has something similar to Open Home Pro and some of these others, right? I think it's a little bit more, I don't know, people I think are a little more interested maybe using a tablet or a computer, typing in their email address rather than writing something. And I think sometimes they intentionally use poor handwriting. Wondering if if you guys have ever seen someone use like a tablet stand or something like by the front door, because so often you're limited to like wherever the kitchen is, that's where you put the sign in things,
Like this.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah. I
I
was
think
thinking, what do those cost? $150? Like it seems like it could probably
there's
pay
one on
off pretty well.
Amazon. I'm not sure the exact price, but they're definitely available on Amazon. But yeah, I think that, I think tablet for sure. Let me go back a little bit here just to show you.
Oh, sorry. I'm skipping ahead, I guess.
It's a great question. So again, my mouse is acting really goofy today, so I'm sorry it's a little all over the place. But with Curb Hero as an example, I think, Jeremy, you're 100% right. It should be digital. If you can go hands-free, what Curb Hero will allow you to do is will actually allow you to sign in, save time and things like that. But they can actually take a picture of the QR code and do all the signing on their own phone. So they're not actually the tablet's there. They could go them, what I'd say manual, but that's maybe it's kind of crazy. It's just a tablet, right? But people are weird. They don't want to touch stuff. Oh, that's your tablet, whatever it might be. But yeah, you can just get them. And what I think is a good way to spin is, hey, from a safety standpoint, from a compliance standpoint, you have to sign in to view this property. And there's something to that, right? You want to know who all these people are that are in your property. Could they give you a fake name or whatever kind of thing? Yeah, of course they could, but you can only take this so far, right? And at least giving them a little bit of the why behind it and some context, which I always think is good, is smart.
I've never thought about that. That's a great one. How about even like a security agreement or something, to make it seem more like official, right? Like we want to make sure we know who's here, and likewise, that you can feel comfortable here because we know everyone that's here.
Yeah. I'm Jeremy Butterfield. I'm with, whatever brokerage you guys are with kind of thing. And my brokerage requires, whether it's a small one they never heard of before, or it's a big one like App Properties, we require that everybody signs in. It's part of the requirements here. And you might be like, you know what, I'm not going to do that. And they might walk out. But I think if they're going to go in there and not sign in before seeing the property, maybe you can change their mind with some conversation. I'll go over some scripting about that in a little bit here, but maybe that's not the person you want in your property anyways, if they're that opposed to it. And again, if you make it that turnkey and just say, hey, it's a safety thing, it's a compliance thing, just need, it's a little bit of information from you, we'll leave it at that.
Right. Check a box that you don't have any COVID symptoms or something like that.
Exactly. And you could even, you could add to these various platforms, you could add in your own questions if you wanted to. I mean, obviously just getting their, and again, I'll give you some kind of prompts here in a little bit, but even just got their name, how long they've been looking for homes, do they own a home, just a little bit of information so that you can start some follow-up that's more specific to them, as opposed to, hey, what'd you think of this purchase price? And, things like that. So, and anybody here use Curb Hero already or no? No. We got Spacio again, similar. You can see the questions there. Please sign in. You can add your own questions. So again, lead capture is very important. Automated follow-up is also very important. It takes more off your plate. Manual is always good too. But these are all very, very similar programs. You can kind of pick through and look through what might work the best for you. And then lastly, we got Open Home Pro, another digital sign-in application to streamline your lead capture, nurture, follow-up, and promotion of your properties. Do you guys have anything through your brokerages that you guys use already, or everybody not just like a piece of paper or something like
that? Compass, we've got where it's all rolled into our platform there. QR codes, super easy. They use their cell phone, and nice. Just doing the same thing everybody else has already mentioned for those who don't want to sign in. Well, I'm sorry, that's the rules we're playing by here with the owner and whatnot. And had to turn some people away, and then you do get some fake info, but can't get, what are you gonna do with that? You can't do much about that.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, again, you get pivot and adjust. I mean, some people are that's just the way it is. So again, it might depend on the property. With the pedestal, I've been to many open houses. You see the iPad on the island or the kitchen counter or whatever it might be, and it's kind of an afterthought. If it's front and center, if it's a point of entry, it's more likely people are going to take a look at that. Especially too, if you're showing the second bedroom or third bedroom and somebody else is coming in the home. This is kind of you could even put, please, like you're at a restaurant, please wait to be seated. Please wait to view the property, something like that. And you might get people kind of stacked up, which is good from a demand standpoint. But again, this little pedestal here you can buy on Amazon if you like the idea. Another option too is you could have a greeter. So maybe you've got some junior agent that's kind of the low person on the totem pole, so to speak, with the team or brokerage or whatever, and they just want some experience. They're too scared, too new, too green to do an open house themselves, but say, hey, I'll teach you how to do an open house. I'll show you some things. I just need you to be my greeter. Here's your script. What's your name? Hi, I'm so-and-so. Thanks for stopping in. Please enjoy some food, tour the property freely, and be sure to let me know what questions come up. First though, please sign in so that we have a record of your attendance today and can keep you updated about this home. And then, you could also say, the homeowners have asked that all visitors sign in for the purposes of safety. Again, compliance and safety usually gets people to get their guard down. I think especially as I say this, I might be thinking the opposite. After COVID, people might be either opposed to it or on board with it, depending on how they roll. But here's the three-step blueprint. Again, like I mentioned several times now, this stuff is not rocket science, guys, but it really does make a difference if you follow the system, follow the blueprint. So step one is planning your open house. For most, this means, schedule your day, your time for when the open house is going to happen. That's obviously just the beginning. Step two is you got to promote it. So just putting a sign up, throwing it on the MLS, as we know, is probably not going to warrant that many people, as opposed to some other stuff that I'll tell you here in a second. We all have the luxury, whether we like it or not, of having the ability to cast a very, very wide net with social media and various, Google My Business, things like that, where people pick up on this stuff. And if it's a nice, good looking property, it kind of takes care of itself sometimes, just more or less you getting the word out there. But step three, again, like I've said a couple of times, it's the F word. It's the most important thing you can do. It's follow up. It's a very, very critical part of the process, which again, I'll cover in more detail and give you some more guidance there in a little bit. So quick note on quality photos. National Association of Realtors reports that 83% of buyers said pictures are very important to helping them choose which homes they will visit. But yet only 35% of agents hire a professional photographer. So Inman reports that quality photos can help you get up to 47% higher asking prices per square foot. What's the lesson? Invest in high quality photos. You guys agree? So let's talk step one, planning your day and a time for your open house. So what's the right time to host an open house? The right time to host an open house is a time when people can realistically attend. So as I think we all know here, Saturdays and Sundays tend to be the best days to host open houses. Another option that's not during the weekend might be like a Thursday evening. That seems to be a good one from what I've heard and what I've seen over the years. Regardless of the day and time, though, what's the most important thing is that you are prepared. You don't want to be that agent who's late. Let's have a little fun here. Here's what can happen if you're running late. You guys can all hear that? Did you hear that?
No.
Seems about right.
What's that?
I
Did you
said
hear
seems about right.
I thought I'd throw something fun in here. It's I don't know who this guy is that put this together. It was pretty good.
I am not able to hear that, by the way. I
It's
don't know if anyone else can.
repeating. I think you guys get the point, but again, being prepared, being on time, very important. To be extra conservative, I would advise going an hour early. You should have probably stuff I'm about to talk about here already kind of flushed out, but that last minute preparation, you don't want people ringing the bell when you're still trying to put, your sign-in sheet in there or whatever it might be. So you got to think about, how's the house gonna, oh, you guys can hear that video? Sorry. Must have not shared that. That's the only video that's got sound, so we'll be good from there. It's him just yelling frantically. It's kind of like a I just blinked on the show, so I forgot the show. Never mind. We'll keep rolling here. So you got to have some good curb appeal. You got to declutter, opening the blinds, curtains, let the light in, deep clean. So all these things do help make a good first impression for open houses. I think, again, pretty straightforward stuff, but you got to plan ahead of time when you're doing that. And here's a couple before and afters. So look at the before and after difference when you remove the clutter. When buyers come into an open house, personal items are a distraction. You want buyers to imagine it's their home without being reminded that someone else lives there. Who's had to deal with some decluttering? You guys had some good stories for some clients that made you go through the ringer.
Oh,
How'd you handle it? Did you do it yourself? You hire someone? Get the homeowner to do it?
I had a listing and it was actually someone who lived across the street from me. And we kept telling them, it was like the baby things, they've got to get out. And so they told us that they were going to LA for the weekend and they were going to probably not relist with us. And we had a second showing plus some others. And I just said, you know what? We're taking all the baby stuff and, ask for forgiveness later. It's going in the garage and it sold that night.
Yeah.
You have to
Makes a
have
big
to
difference.
do it.
Makes a big difference. Or I mean, people that have, pictures themselves all over the walls. Again, people need to envision themselves in that home. They don't want to pretend like they're stepping on somebody else's, memories and things like that. So
You know what else? I think people are looking to see just how easy it is to clean everything, and they want an easy maintenance house, and they're looking at their windowsills and they're just making sure everything's in really great condition and not worn. But if there's a lot of things, on these shelves and windowsills, it makes people think this place was not cleaned properly.
yeah, exactly. It definitely does help. So here's a quick tip. Posting content about the benefit of decluttering is a great way to add some value to your followers and drive some engagement. Again, kind of a side note here, but you can post a series of tips and images or videos. Instagram is a great place for this content, as you can see here by Ashley Hopkins. So now let's go. Now we've planned it. We got our day figured out, all that kind of stuff. Let's talk about promoting your open house. I would say the second most important thing besides follow-up. So the purpose of an open house is to generate buzz, drum up interest in the home, but effectively promoting an open house can also help in building your business versus just selling the home, as I mentioned a couple of times now at the beginning. So let's take a look at some of the ways that you can promote an open house and build your business at the same time. That sound good? All right, so here are some places that you consider posting your open house and marketing it on Facebook. Again, some of this stuff you might already know, some of the stuff you might not realize, but you can put events together just like you can on your Google My Business profile, which, by the way, I didn't include anything Google My Business based here, but everything that you can do on social media, if you're not familiar, you can do on your Google My Business profile. I've taught a class on Google My Business for real estate agents. If you have questions about that or want the recording, I'll share that information a little bit later here, but you should be doing that stuff as well as Facebook, as well as Instagram, as well as, all the other places you can put this stuff here. But here you got your personal and business pages, you got Facebook events, you got Facebook Marketplace, and then Facebook local groups, which obviously is important when it comes to, local properties. Yes, Tracy, I will be sending the recording and as well as the slides. There'll be a open house checklist at the end too that I will provide everybody that helps you kind of follow the blueprint. And I guess just from a very high level to sum up what you might have missed, none of this stuff is super complicated. You probably know most of it, but it's more so just making sure you follow the system and not shortchanging yourself with doing everything but the follow-up or not promoting it that well. Each little factor plays a role in kind of the collective impact of what's going to happen here. So these might be or seem like counterintuitive, but putting your open house on Zillow, putting your house on realtor.com. I know we all think, hey, that's where our competition's waiting for us to lose our clients to, but you're trying to get people to the property, and people look for properties on these websites, right? So anybody use these before for open house promotion?
I
You mean
assume
just like through the MLS, or do you mean actively going and putting them on there?
Well, yeah, MLS is, I think that's almost like it's almost hard not to do it, but Zillow and Realtor, you can post open houses as like events. So people would see them. I think they're supposed to push more times than not from the MLS, but I know that I've had agents tell me that they didn't see it get pushed. So that's more of your guys' department. But again, it's amazing how many people are looking for homes on Zillow, even though, we love and hate Zillow as they try and push us out of the business. It's our business today. So you got to adjust, but
there's often a little lag to push. Yeah.
Is it?
So,
Okay.
Yeah.
Which in that sense, like, again, make sure that you plan this out and you promote this and give yourself some time to flush through that stuff. You don't want to throw a plan to have an open house on a Saturday and it's Thursday night. It's probably not a good amount of time to let that, drip get out.
Yeah. I think that's an important point too, as part of your presentation here is, I would say like Wednesday might be the latest you want to target something like Wednesday, because I think people plan their weekend open house tours before Saturday morning,
100%. Yeah. No, again, given it that, look at these classes that I've learned in teaching these. I used to do them 10 days in advance, and now I do them about 3 weeks in advance. It takes a while here to get people to RSVP and know that's on the radar, just like it would an open house. So on Instagram, again, you might know this stuff already. Some of these you might not, but reels and stories, I think we all get that. That's pretty straightforward. The live and pre-recorded, and also running an ad or boosting a post is another way that you can push this stuff out there. There's tons of options. You really should do a little bit of all of it and see what works for you. You'll get better at some of this stuff, and other stuff you might not think is that fruitful, and you can kind of push that to the side. but you got to try it all. And again, we've got tons of options nowadays to push out our narrative, our marketing, all the kind of stuff that we're trying to do here to get people there. This one, have a little fun with this, but speaking of live streaming, you guys recognize who this guy is here on the left? Good old Mr. Ryan Serhant from $1 Million Listing in New York. So again, this is on a, I didn't know this, but Ryan Serhant actually went to New York to be an actor and then got signed up for $1 Million Listing before he got his real estate license, believe it or not. And he just did it to get some exposure. And from that point forward, he's done crazy stuff. So if you live stream or record your open house, you can cut it into quick hit videos to post across social media. You can either use them as a day in the life videos, or better yet, show off how your property marketing can attract people. So here is, I think I'm actually, you're not going to hear the sound here, because I think I messed up the screen. So again, you could take that, if you've got a, let's say you get some nice $2 million listing, put a lot of time and effort around the open house, hire a videographer. I'll talk about that in a little bit here, but using that kind of stuff, I know a lot of people say, oh, I don't know what to put on social media. I don't have any content. Everything that you're doing is content. Taking this class right now is content. You could film yourself, take a picture of yourself doing this, throw that on social media. Same thing with showing a home. It's no different here. So another promotion option is to send a video email to your database, 48, 72 hours, 3-4 days before the open house, invite them to attend. Again, the goal is exposure. Here's 4 different apps that you can use to send video email and track opens, clicks, and more. Curious, does anyone use any of these already? BombBomb, Vidyard, Warm Welcome, and SendSpark? No. Again, video is the future, whether we like it or not. I personally use BombBomb. What you can do if you're not familiar, all these you can do the same thing, but you can put your database in there. It sends them a video email, and then it tracks who opens it and things like that, so you can follow up with people. So again, just another way to get in front of people, create brand awareness, and keep people that are in your sphere, and also show them that you're doing work. So now, while most agents know that circle prospecting around your just listeds or just sold is a great way to drum up leads, too many skip it when it comes to open houses. You guys are all familiar with circle prospecting. Basically, if I'm, so my office is at 415 North LaSalle. If I'm doing an open house in my office at 415 North LaSalle, I would hit up all the high-rise buildings around here. That maybe seems a little more daunting. This is more of a situation where it's more difficult in Chicago when you talk about condos because you can't get in the buildings. But if you're doing a single family and there's a bunch of single families up and down that street, you could put door hangers up. I mean, door hangers are 15 to 50 cents each. Obviously, the time and effort of dropping them off can be a bit cumbersome, but maybe you get, again, that junior agent that's 3 weeks in the business and they just want to learn, and they'll go pick up your laundry and drop off some door hangers. I'm just joking, but something like that kind of thing. Or some flyers. Those are 10 to 80 cents each. Or just go old school. It's a very much kind of an antiquated way of doing it. Not many people do it anymore. But good old fashioned door knocking. It's free. It's a great way to make personal connections. Again, probably not going to be as fruitful and as successful, and also maybe as safe in Chicago. But if you're in the suburbs, you're walking up and down the street, if you knock on 50 doors and talk to 5 people, those 5 people could be business, and that's only 10%. It's a very small percentage. So again, kind of got to go back to basics with the market we're in, and it definitely does help with all the things we're talking about here. Have you guys heard of the app Nextdoor? I think that's a pretty common one. Yep, yeah. Got some head nods here. Anybody using it? A little bit. I got some handshaking kind of thing. So as a neighborhood sponsor, you can actually promote your open house to the neighbors who live near the listing. And ask if you know anyone who is interested in moving into the area. After all, a home for sale is an opportunity for them to basically choose their neighbors. So little kind of avenues like this, like with Nextdoor, you can be a neighborhood sponsor and you get this whole access of people's information to market your own properties, as well as just market to them, however you so choose kind of thing. So another one here that's good from a resource standpoint is a service called Cole Realty Resource, where you can search and find homeowners around your open house. Cole Realty Resource helps you identify potential clients based on custom search criteria such as length of time in the residence, home value, and more. So it's basically just a big database that you can kind of filter through and search through and pull up data that you're looking to help market. So, all right, so that's it for promoting. Any questions? I'll take a quick break. Anybody any questions? All right, let's keep rolling then. So we're at the big day here. So we talked about planning, talked about promoting. Now the day's here, and how do people know which house it is? They got to see your sign. So again, might not be super important for some of you guys, but because you already have signs with your brokers, et cetera, but an eye-catching and memorable open house sign are the way to go if you're looking to get more potential buyers into your open house. Obviously, it's good branding for you, just for people that are going by, but here's some different options that could help with your house, standing out. And I know the QR code is kind of the new thing with people being able to scan that and grab information. Another way you can grab data is in order for them to get data on the property. And all these websites do this stuff. They've got to provide their information. So it's just a lead capture tool as well. Again, might not be as important for a lot of you that work with big brokerages, but here's a handful of sign options and give or take the cost that they would be charging you. Again, I will be sharing all the slides with you, so don't worry about writing this down. It'll be in your inbox either by the end of today or tomorrow, depending on how long Zoom takes to get the recording processed. So let's briefly talk about food and giveaways during your open house. So providing food or treats is a personal choice, which may depend on the property and your open house strategy. Again, if you're selling a $200,000 condo or $2 million single family, you're probably going to have a different approach to how you attack things here. But same thing with food and treats, with giveaways, raffle cards, branded swag. It really just depends on your budget and what you're trying to accomplish or what's appropriate for that listing. So does anybody here already practice, giving away food or giveaways at open houses? Cookies and subs, things like that?
I keep it pretty basic, but
what's that?
I've had pretty good luck. I usually just do a quick, you can get Mylar bags that are transparent on Amazon, and I put a card and 3 Hershey Kisses in a Mylar bag, and almost everyone takes one. So
that's good. Yeah, that's great. That's
and
great.
the QR code on the back of my card helps people figure out who I am.
Yeah, I like that a lot. Very nice.
I have a feeling it's probably more effective than what I've done in the past, which is like, I think food and drink typically are not touched by most these things.
Yeah, I've been there. You've literally watched people come through and you think that what you're giving away is so great and they don't even want to look at it. But people can be weird. It's just the way it is. But
in post COVID, like I don't want a cookie I haven't gotten myself, or I don't know. Like I still
if you got a plate of cookies, people are like, that's great that you made cookies, Derek. But I'm just trying to buy a house right now. I'm trying to get, eat your cookies.
Yeah.
The giveaways are good too. Again, if it's a raffle cards, things like that. A lot of times branded swag is kind of frowned upon just because it's like whatever. But if you got the card in there, that's for them to contact you. So it can be looked at differently. Some things to think about. So like Derek, with your bags, handouts can be a great way to create impact and help people see themselves buying the home. I don't know about you guys, but nowadays the narrative that's out there with people and just the information that they are grabbing onto and what they're repeating to the likes of us is often not accurate information of, oh my gosh, the foreclosures are coming, the market's going to crash, whatever it is they're grabbing from the mainstream media. We really have to be advisors, and it's not very complicated information, but they don't know any better. And that's where we have to be the professionals. So, property flyers are always good. Those are kind of a standard. Financing flyers, especially nowadays where people aren't sure about the numbers and there's just not a lot of education going on the lender side, which is what I've always focused on. I just keep hearing more and more people say, I got pre-approved by 3 people and you're the first one to even show me what my payment's going to be. I'm like, what are they even doing? I don't understand what they're talking about. Like, how do you not know how your funds to close or your payment? But again, people don't know that. It's your job to help them get over that hump. And in an open house environment, you might be talking to people that haven't talked to a lender yet. And they live upstairs or down the street or whatever it might be, helping them understand this. And just, again, getting them warmed up, giving them information is very important. You might not thought about some of this stuff. So I have a service where I can put together buy versus rent flyers. This particular one is a 5-year kind of net gain on buying. So I think it's at it's hard for me to read this. I think a 375. 375 purchase price and I think $3,000 for rent. And what this is basically saying is after 5 years, the little stuff here that you can't read at the bottom, all this stuff down here, because we see that initial closing costs, cash flow difference, cost to sell. So all the stuff factored in, what they're paying you to sell the property in 5 years, what they're benefiting on the tax side, the appreciation, they're using historical numbers here and forecasted numbers for, in this case, Chicago. The person would, walk away with $70,000. That's a big number for a 375 place over a 5-year period. Again, using historical numbers that have held true the last 5 years and are projected to hold true and then some the following 5 years. Another thing you could show them too, again, and this is going back to this, people aren't going to think about this stuff. Everybody knows buying is better than renting. They don't know why though. They just have heard this a million times. Like, oh yeah, it's your own home. But it's like, well, what if it was actual cash, like a lot of cash after 5 years? And 5 years is relatively quicker time. I mean, I think most are in their house 3 to 7 with the younger generation, but also, again, appreciation forecast. So here we have an appreciation forecast for Cook County using forecasted appreciation of 4.14% for a 5-year ownership plan. So again, just breaking some numbers down and this is 3% down. So it shows them the lowest barrier of entry. You're just warming them up a little bit to have future conversations. And by doing so, if they walk into 5 open houses and you're the first one to show them something like this, they haven't seen this before, you just earn their business. That's a, you know, and you're not even doing anything that's, you know, real estate agent based. It's more lender based, but you technically have to kind of, you know, wear both hats to get them, you know, to the next step, so to speak. So any question of this stuff, you guys can always ask me after. I'll have a QR code to grab a call if you don't already know me, but this stuff's all there and it's available for you. So one thing to consider, I don't think a lot of people do this, but consider hiring a photographer for your open house, whether it's video or just, you know, still pictures, but I would focus on video. Open houses can be a great way to capture content for social media, like I was saying earlier. So you're already doing the work. You're by being there, you are a professional, you're selling a home, but to show you're doing that on social media to hundreds, if not thousands of people, as opposed to the 5 to 10 people that come through your open house, it's a much, much bigger net. And you will see this stuff snowball for those that are a little bit video shy and not pushing social media. Once you start doing it, you start seeing the fruits of your labor, so to speak. It does make a big difference. So again, if people see you on social media with pictures of people in your open house, does that help, you know, create some credibility for your brand? Of course it does. So, you know, if I see you being successful, what is that? What's the perception? You must be successful. So people are attracted to that. Again, Ryan Serhan's kind of an extreme, but that's the example I gave you earlier, just because he's one of the best at doing it, where he literally gets business from, I heard him speak at one of his events. People just find him on YouTube because he's Ryan Serhan. Took a long time to get there. He's always wanted that. The guy literally has 2 or 3 videographers working for him every single day. That's why he creates so much content, and he has editors. Again, that's a very large scale. Not saying that's like easy to do, but you can go that direction and you'll see it definitely help here. This is one thing I thought was kind of fun. Have you guys heard of a booty machine? No. So I came across this and I was like, that's so cool. It's called a booty machine. So you've got that little kind of corny joke you can do all the time at the open house is kind of an icebreaker. But when it comes to great customer service, you know, it's the little things that count. So they walk in, you get them distracted with the booty machine. Oh, you need to sign up for safety and compliance. They're much more likely to, you know, oblige your request while they're putting their foot in their booty machine and you're making some joke or whatever, because now you're their buddy, as opposed to, you know, hey, throw this iPad in their face and let me show you that house really quick. So the booty machine's like $50 on Amazon. So I think it's great. And I think if you did an open house for a bigger agent and they saw this, they'd be like, wow, that's pretty cool stuff. So my personal opinion. All right, so now let's touch on what questions you can ask for your open house visitors to get them talking and to open up a bit. So I think a lot of people are just like, you know, what'd you think of the place? You're going to get the typical, it was good, it's nice, it was whatever. Like they're not going to, you got to lead them a little bit here. So let's look at some questions. You know, do you live in the neighborhood? What are your first impressions of the property? Again, you want to get more granular than just like, yeah, it was a good place. What do you like most about the property? You know, if it's a couple, get them kind of going back and forth on what he likes or she likes or what, you know, whatever kind of thing it might be. And then, you know, what did you like least about the property? How does this property compare to others that you've seen? What do you think of the price? That's always an interesting one too, because it really kind of can be very telling when people start talking about price points and dollars and cents and all that kind of stuff. So here's some more for you too, just to chew on. Again, slides are coming, so you don't have to write all these down, but unless you want to. How long have you been searching for a home? Do you currently own a home and need to sell before you buy? How soon are you looking to move? What's causing you to consider moving? Where would be your ideal property location? And have you been pre-approved for a mortgage? Again, all these questions are designed to get them talking. And whether you realize it right now or not, these are great ways for you to great answers you can use to follow up with them and show that personal connection. So keep track of this stuff. Doesn't hurt to, you could, you know, this might be a little creepy. You can record the conversation with your phone just so you can go play it back or write that stuff down. So you go, oh yeah, that couple that came through that was interested, they had unrepresented, just kind of cruising through, definitely need to follow up with them, which again, I'll give you more guidance on that in a second here. Here's a question you can ask if you've got, you know, some rapport and engagement with somebody already. You know, we specialize in helping people like you find their ideal home in the right area at the right price. Would you be open to receiving updates on homes that meet your criteria? So again, you can lead with the first couple of questions I just gave you. As things are going, then you got to ask for the business. Then you got to go get the business. You know, you want to be their friend and their buddy and kind of warm up a little bit to start. But if there's some engagement there, you don't have to wait till they leave to send them a text or whatever it's going to be for the follow-up that I'll show you in a little bit here. This stuff does work and it's a numbers game. if you do this with 10 people, a handful of people are gonna want to work with you. And I just closed, actually, I just thought of this like 2 weeks ago. It was a $1.1 million purchase that the agent that referred it to me got from an open house. Just some 30-something couple, guys in tech. They didn't ask any questions. They were super appreciative. They were like the greatest clients ever. They were just walking through an open house. It was crazy. So, and the agent told me, she's like, I need you to really educate them and wow them, et cetera, because they're not necessarily my client yet. So it was team effort there, but it's a great example. I mean, she just made whatever she made on 1.1 million for hosting an open house for another agent. Pretty cool, right? So, and then again, you got to get their contact information to add your CRM and ultimately follow up. So, all right, now the big part here. This is the final and most important step. Like I've said, many times now, the follow-up. So your future business lives in your CRM. How many of you guys are using a CRM currently?
Yep.
I hope everybody in some capacity. So that's why using a digital sign-in app makes follow-up easier. You can track, you can measure, you can automate your follow-up. Again, the days of using a Google Sheet or an Excel document might be okay just to kind of keep everything in front of you, but you can't automate anything with that. So here's a handful of them. You got Pipedrive, you got Real Geeks, Contextually, Line Desk, Follow Up Boss. The best CRM is the CRM that you use. Everybody always asks which one is the best. It's whichever one you're going to use. They do a lot of the similar things. I typically say for the CRM conversation, get a demo, kind of do a kind of comparative analysis, 1, 2, and 3. Here's what they do, here's what they don't do. What's the price? You can spend a lot of money on a CRM. You can get one for $50 a month and it can do everything that you need it to do ultimately. So here's a few examples of follow-up campaigns and messaging for buyers. So this is if you want to really go deep on the follow-up and really trust the process and the system and do open houses for the benefit of getting buyers and not just selling the home and sellers too. So again, I'm going to give all this to you. So you don't have to pay, write this exactly down, but first day, you guys can see that, right? Day 0. Thanks for attending. You do a video message that you don't have to go get bomb. You don't have to go get something like that. You could just do a text message to them that says, hey, really enjoyed meeting you. Here's some other information. Thanks for attending. Let me know if you have any questions. Next day, seller would appreciate your feedback. You can call them up, leave a voicemail. And then, by the way, the goal I think the goal here is important because I think a lot of us in this business create a message, do an action, and don't always have the end goal in mind. We're kind of checking a box that we followed up, but we're not really following up purposefully. Does that make sense? So try and keep the end goal in mind when you're leading with the action. Jumping ahead to day 6 here. What do you think of the home I sent? The call and text. As you can see here, video message, you're calling, voicemail, email, hitting them from different angles. Everybody likes something different. Are you bothering them a little bit? Yeah, maybe, but that's our job, right? That's how we get paid. So this is continued for the buyer side of things. You can connect with them on Facebook if you got some traction with them. Let's meet and organize your search. Send a value proposition piece, kind of what you've done over the years. You want to show testimonials, things like that. And then, pushing all the way out 21 days, check in to see how your search is going. We'll call and text. If you don't hear from them, put them on some sort of drip campaign forever until you hear from them. All you're looking for them to do is say, hey, I bet you a year ago at an open house. Now I'm interested. I'm finally getting, back on my feet. I got my job back, whatever kind of thing is. You were great to work with. I really appreciate everything. You stood out, whatever it might be. You're the one that had the booty machine at the open house, something like that, something that's memorable. So now we'll look at some sellers on their side of things. Again, thanks for attending. Quick message. Seller would appreciate your feedback. Send a handwritten note and business card. Send it, good old snail mail. I don't know about you guys, but those still definitely work. I get those from people, from agents, from clients, and I'm always like, wow, that really stood out. I remember that. And I save them because I don't ever really get too many of them, to be honest with you. So again, we won't go over every single one here. I think you guys get the point. But again, that's 21 days of texting, calling, snail mail. And I don't know if you guys know the law of familiarity, but it says you need to see somebody's name 3 to 7 times. Studies show it's in books and all that kind of stuff before they'll even think about working with you. So one little, hey, thanks for coming, probably not going to there might be an exception, but it's probably not going to work. They need to see a couple times, and maybe it's that fourth touch with the handwritten note that finally gets to them because the postal service doesn't do their job too quickly, that they're like, oh, hey, I'm gonna give Betsy a call. That was really nice that she sent me that handwritten note. Didn't care about the text message video, didn't care about the email or whatever, but that they saw it, and then the handwritten note ultimately sealed the deal. So any questions on that? Make sense? All right, so again, some sample messages here. So again, you should follow the system. Maybe you're not looking to have that extensive of a follow-up. Again, I think if you're going to do it, do it. I strongly suggest it, but at least at the very minimum, needing a simple follow-up and a thank you message with a question via email or text, can work. For example, here, I want to thank you for coming, the open house at blah, blah, blah address, yesterday. What questions do you have about the property that you didn't get to ask during the open house? So you give them 24 hours or a couple hours and following up with the question. Hey, so-and-so, I don't know if I say dear, but it was nice meeting you and whoever else was there on such and such date, the open house. I would love to touch base with you to hear any feedback, answer any additional questions and or help with any requests you might have. That one's not a question, but again, I would have something more engaging that requires them to get back to you. And know that most aren't going to get back to you. You can follow up on this stuff. Okay. All right. So let's recap now. First, we went over overcoming open house issues. We talked about preparing and promoting your open house. Again, with preparing probably the least important, promoting being somewhat important. And then the big days there. And then the most important part, capturing, converting leads to clients with our follow-up. So was this helpful information? Good stuff. Who wants to share their one big takeaway, their one big idea? Either in the chat or go ahead and go off mute. Nobody? They just want the free checklist. That's fine. All good. All good. Tracy, thanks so much. This was amazing. Great. So this is going to be coming your guys' way. I got a PDF of this. This is your open house checklist. This is going to keep you on track and make sure that you're doing all the stuff that's very, very important. Like I've been really kind of beating a dead horse here. If you do 2 out of the 3, it's not going to be as great if you do all 3 out of 3. That's just the way that it goes. It's not rocket science. I think most of you guys know this stuff already. It's just a matter of doing it and putting it in place, and then automate the ordinary stuff. A lot of the follow-up stuff that we're talking about here doesn't have to be a handwritten note. It can just be you grab their information with a digital sign-in, and then the campaign that you have does all the rest. This personal touch might sometimes be better there. You can pick and choose that. You can also insert videos of yourself into the automated follow-up. That's always good too. It's hard to personalize a message that way, but people do appreciate video because they think that you took some time out of your day to, focus on them. So, all right, that's it for the open house stuff. The next class I'm teaching, guys, is going to be November 16th. I'm really excited for this one. It's hot off the press, so it's Master the Market. It's a free workshop, like they all are. How to close this year out strong and dominate heading into 2024. I'm pulling some of the old class content, but I'm also got some new stuff in here too that I'm excited to teach you guys. So if you want to register, scan the QR code. Let me know if anybody still needs that before I jump to the last couple slides here. All good?
I don't have it yet. Didn't see it. Mike, can we also get your the flyers that you created about the cost rent versus buy?
Yeah, all that stuff. So those are all custom. So I can give you you just tell me the rent versus buy. I just need to know the purchase price compared to the rent.
I like the sample that's already there. I
can give you the samples I have. I basically have like a 250 purchase price, a 300, a 375. So I can just send you all those too. I'll include those in there as well. Yeah. Obviously, as interest rates change, numbers change, things like that. So I can always do those updated. The appreciation forecast for me in Cook County is not amazing because Cook County is so vast. It's hard. I mean, I think you got to get more neighborhood specific, and the software, the technology I use just doesn't do that. But I think on your guys' side of things, that could be something you could dive deeper into.
Yeah, I would like the appreciation one because with the Chicago Association of Realtors, we can go to neighborhoods and get statistics there.
And I can always put in a custom appreciation. So if you're like, hey, I'll use River North because I'm in River North right now. If River North is going up by 7% and Cook County is going up by 4.14%, I can put in 7%. You can say, hey, based on the statistics, here's what we're seeing for River North, or Gold Coast, or Schaumburg, or whatever kind of thing. And we can customize that stuff. Again, this is a great example, Betsy, of being a partner as opposed to just a vendor or a solicitor, where it's like, hey, send me pre-approvals and I'll give them a letter and let me know when they're under contract. That's never made any sense to me. There's education there, but it needs to be a reflection of your business. So they're going back to you saying thank you, and then it's a collective team effort to get them to the finish line, and then get more referrals from them because Betsy and Mike did a great job, not just Betsy or not just Mike. But
Yeah, speaking of that, do you ever sit open houses with another broker or have somebody on your team who you could send?
Yeah, yeah.
That's what I've been doing, is calling lenders to join me. You know, you get a really big property. I'm not comfortable with people just, roaming about the place. Then
Yep.
you need to be greeting.
Yep, I think you missed the right at the beginning of we talked about safety, was basically saying if you can get somebody else to sit there with you, it's a great thing to do from a safety standpoint, especially in houses. So talking about prior classes, I'm a little bit late to getting the summer school ones up there. So there's about 7 classes now that I've taught that need to go on YouTube. This will be the 8th one, but there's already like 7 or 8 on there. Things like setting up your Google My Business profile, reels for real estate. So there's a whole bunch of stuff on there that goes to my YouTube channel. And last but not least, thank you guys. If you want to schedule a call with me and go over any of this stuff at all, go ahead and scan the QR code that takes you to my calendar. If you want to do a Zoom call, I prefer that. Obviously, it's more beneficial there, but the open house success from here is really up to you guys. So I'll send you the recordings like I mentioned. Would love to meet with you one-on-one to help with anything at all. So go ahead and scan the QR code. And that's pretty much it, guys. If I can help you with anything, just let me know. Any questions at all?
Thanks.
Thanks,
This is really, really helpful. Yeah.
It was a lot of fun.
Who already bought a booty machine? Amazon just texted me they're out of booty machines now. You guys bought them all. All right, guys. I'll see you on November 16th for the Master the Market, if not sooner. Let me know if I can help. Enjoy the rest of your day. I'll send you that recording and slides. Talk soon. And the checklist.
Thanks, Mike.
Bye, guys. Take care.